To be Acadian, I guess, historically speaking, would be the ones that the first Europeans to settle in North America. In 1605, with Samuel de Champlain, they settled in the St. Croix River, and then they moved to Port Royal, down by Annapolis County, down in the valley. And then we prospered there for a couple of hundred years. And in 1755, the expulsion of the Acadians was ordered by Charles Lawrence. And we ended up being put on boats, a lot of them. Half of them that were put on board drowned on the way wherever they were going. And the other half ended up in Port L'Espérance, that would be in New Brunswick, on the way to the North Shore. And some of us made it here. Some of them even starved to death in the winter because they couldn't get enough food. We managed in the fishery, between the fish and what we could eat. And the First Nation helped us a lot in feeding us and kept us alive. 3 years after the deportation, we were burnt out of here by a fellow by the name of James Wolfe that took Quebec in 1759. On the way to take Quebec City, the Admiral Hammers ordered him to burn all the French settlement on Cape Breton Island, and Ile Madame was one of them. 5 or 6 years after, the Robins arrived, and they were worse. The Robins were Huguenots from the Isle of Jersey between England and France. They spoke French, but they were British subjects. Well, the Robins had their money where they paid their fishermen, and their fishermen could only negotiate that in their stores. The condition was this, that as soon as a round fish hit the bottom of the boat, it belonged to the company. So the only thing that the Acadians could take home to feed their family were the waste of the fish, like the big the vertebrae of the fish, as well as the heads. But that's all they had. So they kept the Acadians in debt, poor, and they kept them illiterate. They weren't allowed their education. In my day and the day before, education was frowned upon because those educated people, they cheated people. The entrepreneurs, they cheated people. They were bad, in that sense. So Grandpa wasn't exactly overwhelmed for you to become an entrepreneur, because they would make money on the backs of the poorer people. And he said that was not right. So. Once you're what you would call crushed, it takes a long time to come back up to feel good in your own skin. And we felt that over the years, that we were never good enough. We never knew our history, and those who talked about us didn't know us in the first place, because it was never us talking. When a Jerseyman writing in the paper said that the relationship between the Huguenots and the Acadians were amicable, that they got along very well, well, it depended on what side of the fence you were sitting on. To him, yeah, because he had all the benefits. But to the Acadians, it was another story. Even after all the assimilating factor that arrived, we can still sit back and have a laugh amongst ourselves, speaking our language. And it gives me a sense of pride. I had the privilege of going to Louisiana a couple of times and meeting those people that spoke French. It was like hearing my grandfather speak all over again.